What is up, everybody? My name is Jericholic8704, here to give you a late installment of Raw is Jericholic8704. I apologize sincerely for not getting this out earlier, but for those of you who don't know, which is all of you, I was out of town this past week. I went on a vacation with my family to the beach, and I could have recorded there, but the problem was the only place I could have recorded where I wouldn't disturb my family was on the balcony of our condo, and it's really windy at the beach, and that would have been really annoying if you just heard the wind in the background constantly. Like, I tried, but it was really awful, and it wasn't going to sound good, and it would have been annoying. So I figured, I watched this Raw, last week. I just never got around to recording it, and then I came back Wednesday, and I was going to record it, but I got sick. I was, really, really sick. I didn't feel like moving. I was really tired. I had the shits. It was not good at all. So let's just dive right in. I'll give you a double header probably. I'll probably have the next Raw review in a few, I'll upload it probably with this one. But let's dive into Raw, June 14th, 2004. This is a day after Bad Blood. So we open up with Bischoff backstage. Kane comes in and Bischoff tells him that he had a fantastic match, but there's a new number one contender. Bischoff is afraid and tells Kane he'll get another shot, and he calls Kane a professional, and then Kane shows Eric Bischoff is correct by tearing apart Bischoff's office, but he doesn't kill Bischoff. He just gets really mad and starts throwing furniture around and starts throwing shit, and then that's the intro. And then we have the intro theme, and then King, ironically, you usually listen to JR do the intro, welcome to WWE Raw. But it's King this time, which I thought was a little weird, but that was because JR was in the ring, and he was going to do an opening promo with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. So JR discusses the Hell in a Cell match and asks both guys to come to the ring. HBK comes out first, followed quickly by Triple H. JR puts the match over and says that it's time for the rivalry to end, and he asks them to respectfully shake each other's hands to signify the end. Shawn Michaels extends his hand, Triple H thinks about it, and then Bischoff comes out and says he has an important announcement regarding the title contender. Kane's pyro hits out of nowhere, and he comes out. So Kane gets in the ring with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and Kane boots Shawn Michaels, which I was really kind of skeptic about that, because if Kane wants to be the number one contender and he's mad, this would imply that Shawn Michaels was the new number one contender, which wouldn't make any sense considering Triple H won the Hell in a Cell match. Now, granted, as it pans out, Triple H is the one that gets the world title shot at Vengeance. But I still find it weird that Shawn Michaels was going to get the title shot even if he lost. Now, that was never blatantly stated. It just seems that way, because why would Kane go after Shawn Michaels for no reason other than, sure, Kane doesn't need a reason to kill anyone. He's Kane. But if Kane's so wrapped up in being the number one contender, you think he would attack the person who's going to be the new number one contender, that being Shawn Michaels, and he puts him out of commission because he boots HBK, and Triple H looks down, he sees Shawn Michaels out for the count because they're both beat up and bruised and battered and bloody and everything, and Triple H slowly bails. He puts his hands up and says, hey, he's yours, and he gets out of the ring and walks backstage. So he annihilates Shawn Michaels. He boots him out of the ring. He kicks his head against the ring post. Shawn Michaels is already destroyed from the Hell in a Cell match. He's not feeling too good. And then Kane does a brutal spot. He puts a chair around Shawn Michaels' neck, and he jumps off the top rope and stomps on it. This leads to Shawn Michaels getting eternal injuries. He's bleeding out of his mouth. Medics come. They stretcher Shawn Michaels away. And that was the opening segment. And to tell you the truth, I really, really loved this opening segment. This Raw was actually very, very good now that I look back on it. What was great about this is, obviously, this was fake. You know what I mean? And duh, it's wrestling. But here's the thing. No rational human would ever think, okay, they would never have someone put a steel chair around someone's throat and someone jump, a couple feet off the ground onto the chair. You know what I mean? Like when they did something similar a couple weeks ago with Matt Hardy and Kane, where Kane just kind of stomped on it. You know what I mean? But even though this move was incredibly fake, the visual of Shawn Michaels gushing out blood from his mouth, that was so disturbing and so just unsettling that the ridiculousness of the move was kind of just taken away here. You saw how devastating the move was to Shawn Michaels, and you instantly felt all the sympathy in the world for him, and it was really, even the most jaded fans, the most hardcore fans, you can't help but really kind of buy into it. I knew this spot was coming. I remember watching this Raw as a kid and seeing this, and it freaked the hell out of me. But I knew this spot was coming, but just seeing it, it's really, really disturbing. And it wasn't disturbing in a bad way. It's not like it really, like, it was unsettled. I was unsettled by it. I was unsettled in a good way. And I think, obviously, you'll never, as long as, the PG rating is under WWE's banner, which for the foreseeable future will be the case, you will never see something like this again, because this is very violent. This is very bloody. And it's not like, a gusher on the head. This is something really, really scary, like a crushed throat, something that could really, really kill you if you're not careful. And even though it was blatantly fake, it's still unsettling to see like an injury of course we had seen blood before, but we don't see blood like this. You know what I mean? It's very, blood has to be used tastefully in wrestling, because if you bleed on every show, the fact that someone's bleeding, it really isn't that big of a deal. Which again, is something I can commend WWE for nowadays, considering they're on a no blood policy, even though I don't think that's a good thing. When they do allow someone to bleed, I know they allowed Roman Reigns to bleed, and even though it was just a capsule, it wasn't like, I don't think it needs to be a blade job. It can easily be a capsule. I'm fine with that. Because if they don't want guys blading, I'm fine with that. It's totally fine to use a capsule. I know you don't get that it doesn't come off as well, but I'd rather, guys use a capsule than blade, just because blading seems unnatural, but it's fine. So that was a great opening promo and a great opening segment. They showed Shawn Michaels being carted away. My only complaint is I really feel like this should have been the main event, because we possibly could have seen Shawn Michaels die, and it's like, all right, on to the next match. Now, granted, JR was kind of somber throughout the commentary, but I feel like this could have been the main event slot, and you could have given the crowd maybe like a fun dark match so they go home happy and not have the image of Shawn Michaels dying in the middle of the ring as the final thing they see before they leave the arena. So I think that would have been a better route to take. But if you wanted, your audience, I mean, really, the audience at home, you can leave them with any emotion they want, but the crowd should go home happy. So I think you could have had this in the main event and then had a post, Raw dark match where, someone gets pantsed and all that stuff. So that's my only complaint, but that's a nitpick, I know. So, but other than that, this was a great segment, and this is one of my favorite segments of Raw 2004. So then we had a mixed tag match, Trish Stratus and Tyson Tomko versus Matt Hardy and Lita. So whenever Trish and Lita were involved in this match, the match was really, really good. And whenever Tyson and Matt Hardy were in the match, it kind of fell to shit. So they start, Lita gets most of the offense, Trish tags in Tomko, and then Matt comes in. So they start brawling. There was a horrible spot where Matt Hardy went for like a cross body, and Tyson Tomko failed to catch him, and they all kind of like stumbled across the ring. Like he grabbed him, he wanted to grab him as if he was going to do like a World's Strongest Slam, like that kind of position, and he failed to do it, and he just kind of ran across the edge, and just they both kind of took a tumble. It was pretty embarrassing. And then JR, who is always an honest man, he says, Tyson Tomko, he's got raw power, but he's really unrefined, which is a nice way of saying this guy is still green as hell and he kind of sucks. So Matt counters a power slam into a DDT. Trish tags in and Lita makes a hot tag. Tomko breaks up a pin and he and Matt brawl outside. Trish goes for a Stratusfaction, but Lita counters into a DDT for the win. Again, whenever Trish and Lita were in there, it was great. Same cannot be said for the men. This was an okay match. It was your usual Raw mixed tag match. What more can you say? So then we had a backstage segment with Triple H and Bischoff. Triple H is all concerned for Shawn Michaels, at least he pretends to be, and he asked Bischoff for the number one contender spot. Bischoff says yes and no. He says next week we're going to have a number one contenders match. It's going to be Triple H versus Eugene. So then we had a flag match. La Resistance versus Hurricane and Rosey. So, in the beginning, King asked JR what the rules to a flag match are, and obviously we've seen flag matches before, but they decided to change the rules for this one. In this flag match, all that really happened was, it was a regular standard match, but if you won, your flag got to be waved at the end of the match. That's all. So, USA chants for Hurricane and Rosey. They start off hot. La Resistance double teams Hurricane and beat him for the heat. Hurricane hits a top rope neckbreaker and makes the hot tag to Rosey. Rosey goes to suplex Conway, and then Sylvain Grenier grabs his feet and he gets pinned. And they sing "Oh Canada" and whatever, the crowd boos. So then we had a backstage segment with Lita. She's alone, looking all scared, and the camera pans down to reveal that she is holding a pregnancy test. So then we had a highlight reel with special guest Eugene. So Jericho introduces Eugene, saying that he and Eugene have several things in common. One, they both won all their matches at Bad Blood. Two, they're both sexy beasts, which Eugene is horrendously embarrassed. And then he says they're both huge wrestling fans. So Jericho asks him what his favorite Y2J moment is, and Eugene tries to speak, but he's holding the microphone upside down, and Jericho helps him out there. He says Chris Jericho peed in William Regal's tea, and William Regal drank it. William Regal was very offended by this. So then Jericho gets all serious, and he says he wants to talk to Eugene about Triple H, and Eugene, of course, gets all excited. He says Triple H is his favorite wrestler, and he starts doing the water spit gag and everything. So Triple H comes out to the ring. Eugene is beside himself. He is marking out. William Regal and Chris Jericho are both really skeptic. They're not really trusting Triple H. Triple H comes out with Evolution. Randy Orton's holding a present and everything. So Triple H comes to the ring, and he tells Eugene that basically Chris Jericho was lying the entire time about him, and that Evolution are Eugene's friends. He introduces all of them to him and everything. And Randy Orton gives Eugene his presents. So they give Eugene a Triple H hat, and Triple H notes that he doesn't want him to mess up his hair when he puts the hat on, which is funny considering I don't even know what Nick Dinsmore did to make his hair all frizzy and everything. He probably just went to bed and came out with that bed head or something. They give him an Evolution t-shirt. Triple H notes that it's an extra, extra large, so he can slip it on over Eugene's ring jacket, which I thought was funny because Eugene just instantly throws the shirt on over his bulky jacket, which I thought was hilarious. Triple H has a picture of himself in the present box, and he has a Sharpie, so Triple H signs the picture for Eugene, and then he says he has an Evolution t-shirt for Eugene to sign because Triple H wants his autograph. Triple H tells Eugene to sign his autograph on the naked lady's butt on the Evolution shirt, and then he says he wants a picture with Eugene, and this was the best moment of the whole thing. So Eugene and Triple H get this picture going, and Triple H says, on the count of 3, I want you to say pedigree, and all of a sudden you hear the crowd, they start buzzing, they're like, oh no. William Regal and Jericho, they're all skeptic, they're not having any of it. JR and King, they're not having any of it either, they all can see through Triple H. Triple H says 1, 2, 3. Eugene says pedigree, and they just take the picture. I thought that was a great moment. You totally suckered in everyone. The whole crowd fell for it. I thought this was a great heel move by Triple H. This was really, really awesome. Great stuff here. This is a very good highlight reel segment. So Eugene exits out of the ring with William Regal. He's all happy because he has all of his presents. And by the way, this is a side note. Jericho did something that I thought was really fucking weird. It bothered the shit out of me. Jericho, I guess, didn't feel like holding his microphone, so instead of putting it down on the ring or one of the chairs, he just kind of stuck it in between his tights. So he just kind of looked like he had a microphone poking out of his pants. That was really, really weird. Jericho basically just tells Triple H that he's not fooling anyone. He's like, wow, you put one over on Eugene. I hope you're proud of yourself. And I'm going to be the first person in line waiting to congratulate Eugene after he beats the hell out of you next week. Evolution threatens to beat Jericho up, and nothing really amounts to it. Triple H is like, let's just bail. So then we had a backstage segment with Stacy, Keibler, and Lita. Stacy's looking for Lita in the bathroom, and Lita holds the early pregnancy test behind her back. Stacy asks to borrow her elbow pads, and then Lita tells Stacy about her pregnancy. She says she's pregnant, and then Stacy's reaction is a lot better than her acting. This seemed like a genuine reaction, because Stacy Keibler is a horrible actress, and as you know, a pregnancy is exciting, so I think they told her, just act like your friend just got pregnant, and she could do that. So this was a very good reaction from her. Lita says, please don't tell anyone, and Stacey Keibler's like, oh my god, I totally understand, woman to woman, I totally got you. But this begs the question, why would you tell her in the middle of a live broadcast of Raw? Now, I understand, during some backstage segments, you're supposed to pretend that the camera isn't there. Because, you just got to buy into that sometimes. So you got to pretend that there wasn't a camera right in front of Stacy and Lita. However, this is still a live broadcast. You think someone would pick it up, a wrestler might hear it, and they might go to the ring. I feel like this isn't the time and place. Lita's hand was kind of compromised, considering Stacy ran in when she was taking her pregnancy test, but still, kind of weird. So then we had Stacy Keibler and Nidia versus Molly Holly and Gail Kim. I will say the continuity was great. Stacy Keibler was actually wearing elbow pads. However, I don't know if Lita was wearing elbow pads in her match earlier, but whatever. So Nidia starts against Gail Kim. Molly gets in the tag, and they start beating up on Nidia. Stacy gets in the ring, and the two get the heat on Stacy. They did the classic ref didn't see the tag spot. Gail does all these wacky submissions. Eventually, Stacy Keibler taps out for the loss. This was a nothing match, just a classic Divas tag. What more can you say? So then we had clips of the Hell in a Cell match, and then we had our main event, Evolution versus Edge, Chris Jericho, and Chris Benoit. And really, I mean, I could go note by note with everything I wrote about this match, but really, this was just a very, very long main event. It was good. Like, I wasn't bored watching this match. It was a very good TV main event. But, you know, it was constantly back and forth. There really wasn't anything too crazy going on in this match. The first elimination came when Edge hit a spear, Benoit hit a headbutt, and Jericho hit the lion salt on Batista. They kind of triple teamed him. So they all hit their finishers on Batista, and they eliminate him, and the crowd chants, na 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 na, goodbye. They go back and forth a little bit more. Triple H gets on the apron to distract the ref, while Jericho has the Walls of Jericho on Ric Flair. Orton comes in and hits an RKO on Chris Jericho. Flair mouths to him that he's a legal man because Orton was going for the pin. So eventually the ref comes back to his senses and he counts the 1, 2, 3, and Jericho gets eliminated. So it's a 2-on-2 match at this point, Edge and Chris Benoit versus Randy Orton and Ric Flair. Benoit and Flair start clubbing each other, and then Benoit hits the German suplexes. Flair calls for Orton to make the save, and then Orton breaks it up and gets suplexed himself. Flair makes the tag, and Orton and Edge get the tag as well. Edge and Orton go back and forth. Flair comes in, and Edge spears him. The ref tries to get Flair out of the ring, and then Orton hits a low blow and then an RKO for the elimination. Then Flair goes for a figure 4, and Benoit reverses it into a crossface for a submission. Orton goes in after Benoit, and they both go back and forth. Orton accidentally clotheslines the ref, and then Triple H tries to interfere, but Benoit suplexes him. Eventually, Chris Benoit puts the sharpshooter on Randy Orton, and Randy Orton taps out, and the team of Jericho, Benoit, and Edge win. This was a very, very good match. Again, nothing like groundbreaking happened in this match. It was just your standard 6-man tag. One team got the heat, and the other team made a comeback. Yada, yada, yada. There were 5 eliminations. It was a very decisive win for Chris Benoit. He looked good in this match. You know, sometimes he isn't the focal point. Triple H is still the top star on Raw, but at least Chris Benoit looked like a beast in this match. He looked very, very good. So other than that, this is a very standard Raw. This is a very good Raw. You know, nothing... It was a very safe Raw, aside from the opening segment, which was shocking as all hell. Other than that, this was a standard Raw, but it was a very good one. The highlight reel segment was awesome. This was a great main event, and that opening promo and that opening segment with Shawn Michaels' injury was absolutely fantastic. A very, very, very good Raw. Kept me entertained from beginning to end. This is how you book a Raw. This was very good. My name is Jericholic8704, and I will see all of you later.